Hi, thank you for tuning in to my channel. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, don't forget to subscribe now and don't forget to like. Now, I got a question asking me if I could do something on the subject of understudies and swing and alternates and ensemble and chorus. And these are all different positions, jobs that you can take inside of a show, inside of theater, like musicals, book musicals, reviews, plays, even. So I decided, rather than do this myself, I'm going to call somebody in who functions, and he is great at this job as a production stage manager slash stage manager. He has done it all his life. He knows the ins and outs of it, and his credentials are incredible. So he's the one who's in control of all of us performers. Okay? So I am going to invite Mr. Ken Hansen to talk to us about understudy, swing, and all of that. Hey, Ken.
Hey, Vivian, how are you?
I am good. I'm so happy that you could be here. Now, Ken, do me a favor, do all of us a favor for those who are watching. Please explain the differences between understudy and swing and ensemble, dance ensemble, standby. Talk about that for a minute.
Okay. Well, the understudy is the person that goes on in place of the performer that has been under contract and whose name is out on the street, usually, to do the performing. Generally, the understudy is somebody who is in the show, but not always. Usually, they'll take the understudy from the ensemble, which is the chorus. Another synonymous name for it is the ensemble. They'll take someone from the ensemble, but sometimes it'll be someone that's totally off stage, that's not in the show. Sometimes people have two understudies, a first understudy and a second understudy, and everything is negotiable. You know, who's the first understudy, who's the second understudy. Now, as far as the dancers are concerned, that's the ensemble. Their understudy is called the swing, and the swing has to know all the dancers' parts. Sometimes they have to go on for two different dancers in the same performance. So you may have to do this number in one person's spot and another number in another person's spot. That's why you're the swing. You have to be able to go all around. And sometimes the swing is also the understudy. Now, there is also an alternate, which is the person that goes on. If they're scheduled to go on. For instance, I know the Tina Turner show that's on Broadway now, the young lady who got all the publicity for playing Tina Turner, she actually only plays 4 performances out of the 8 performances. The alternate goes on for the 4 other performances. It's all scheduled, it's all in the playbill. This one's on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. That's the alternate. And let me see, then there's the matinee person who does just the matinees. I know that when Evita was on Broadway, Patti LuPone only did the evening performances, and there was a matinee Evita. So you know if you went to the matinee, you were going to see that person. Now, also, there's someone called a standby. A standby is usually a person who has a little more experience in the business, but they're not quite a star, so they have a reputation, and their agent has negotiated them to understudy one of the leads, but they do not have to be at the theater. But they have to be in a proximity of the theater. They can't be in Washington D.C. You call in. I think it's at least an hour because you have to get there to check on the star to see if the star is performing that evening. And if they are not performing, then you have to hightail to the theater. But if not, you're still on standby. And generally, they like them to be in the vicinity of the theater. But as long as you are a cab ride away, shall we say, that's what's safe. But there will always be someone there at the theater, a second understudy, in case somebody faints in the middle of the show. Because the main thing is to never stop the show. The show must continue. And also, in cases of extreme emergencies, the stage manager is allowed to go on the stage as well. And I have been an understudy as well. As the second assistant stage manager, you can also understudy. And I actually understudied in The Wiz on Broadway, and I went on for a week. And when you go on as an understudy, there are 8 performances. And if you go on for one performance, you get 1/8 of your salary added on to your paycheck. So therefore, if you do the entire week, you do 8 shows, so you get double your paycheck. Now that's the minimum. You can negotiate, everything's negotiable. How much you're going to make, if you're going to make more than that or less than that. And basically, also there's another thing where the alternate, like I know Bette Midler, the Donna Murphy did Tuesday nights for Hello Dolly, and Bette did the rest of the week. But she wanted, that gave her a long weekend. She was off on Monday and Tuesday and came back on Wednesday. But anyone that came to see the show on Tuesday, they knew Bette Midler was not going to be there.
But Ken, listen,
So,
I have
mhm,
something to say. Like, for instance, when I was doing Marie Christine with Audra McDonald, there was an alternate, Sherry Boone. I don't know if you know who Sherry Boone is.
yes, yes.
Wonderful classical singer, and she was Audra McDonald's alternate. And she also got reviewed because sometimes the alternate will also get their own reviews. And Sherry got stellar reviews. Now, a funny story with Lolita Holloway. You know Lolita, right?
Yes, yes.
Of course, God rest her soul, she's passed away several years now. But I basically started her career to going because she was fresh out of church when we were doing Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope in Chicago. So Lolita didn't know anything about theater. I mean, this girl didn't know anything about theater. She's fresh out of church, right? So we had the same understudy, Geraldine DeHaas. She understudied both of us. So I decided to take a show off just to rest my voice a little bit. So that meant that my understudy was going to go in for my role. She was going to do the role. And of course, Lolita would still be doing her role. Now, don't forget now, we shared the same understudy. Well, baby, I'm sitting. I decided to go to a movie just to relax. So halfway through the movie, I hear, Vivian, Vivian. And I said, who's calling my name? I turned around and here's the stage manager walking down the aisle trying to find me. So when I looked up, he said, Vivian, come here. So we go out to the lobby. I said, what's the matter? He said, you're going to have to go on and do your role. I said, what do you mean I have to go on and do my role? I mean, my understudy is on. He said, Lolita just took off, decided that she going to take off the show. I said, what? So I had to go in and do my role because we did not have the luxury of each having our own understudy. But long story short, she ended up having a stellar career, of course, in records. And I think she did maybe another piece or two of theater. What are the advantages and disadvantages of when you decide that you want to do understudy and that kind of thing? Can there be a disadvantage?
Well, you can get stuck in that, them seeing you as an understudy. It's good when you're starting out. You want to learn, you want to observe, and you want to be under the wings of someone more experienced than you, but you're really taking it as a stepping stone. You really don't want to get stuck there. And you kind of put that out. I know many people that give their notice and leave a show because they've just been an understudy just too long. It's too long for them. But other people are very content with it, and they can sit and ride through it. It depends on whether you really feel that you need or must be a star, or you must be on the stage, or, it depends on the individual.
Well, we can use me for an example. I never did understudy or anything like that. I've always played lead roles, co-starring roles, and featured roles. But that was a choice that I made. Also, I do know of a couple situations, in particular, this one young lady who is extremely talented. And she was doing Chicago. She was the understudy in Chicago. And she went on quite a few times. But when they got ready to replace the woman who she was understudying, they did not. And she went up, she asked them, she wanted them to hire her because and I went to see her. She was excellent in the role, but they would not put her in that role permanently. They got an outside person. So,
Yeah.
but I do know at the same time, there have been people who were understudies who actually went on for the star and who was able to go on and have their own great career as a lead player. So I think it's iffy, right? Let me just tell you about the career of people who do nothing but understudy, but swing, but stand by, but chorus ensemble, dance ensemble, and all of that. Baby, some of them got more money in the bank than I do
That's right.
because that means that they will probably work way more often than I would work because I'm
Mm.
waiting around for that lead role, that special role, that featured role, that co-starring role. Whereas there is a demand. If you are on top of your game, and just like you alluded to the fact that as a swing, Baby, you got to be all that and some chocolate cake because you are covering all of these roles. Oh, Ken, you know what? We forgot to talk about this. How do you understudy a role or how do you learn a role as a swing?
The dance captain has already taken you through all the paces at the rehearsal. And so you know, in an empty stage, so you know where you're supposed to be. And then you have to follow the person around and follow when they have to change their costumes, when they have quick changes, exactly where the quick change is going to be that into one costume to the next. And basically you follow them around. And then you have to watch from out front until it's like in your memory, and you should always be watching from out front. And sometimes you may have to sing on the microphone backstage because we have pit singers that they started doing that. So you have to be ready at all times. They may call you over the microphone. So and so, come to the stage manager's desk. You're going on. As soon
Yes.
as possible. Hopefully,
So,
it's like get to the intermission. Usually, they let it go to the intermission, but sometimes no, no.
okay, so you know what? It's just as important to do ensemble and swing and alternate and dance ensemble because you can make a great career at just doing that. I hope that we have helped you. Thank you, Ken.
You're very welcome.
And stay tuned and don't forget now, subscribe to this channel, the Vivian Reed channel, and also like the video. See you for now.